Welcome into Other People's Shoes. I'm your host, Neil, and today we sit down with Kelly. Kelly is one of my coworkers, and Kelly tells her story on her church experience. Now, you have to understand something. Kelly did not grow up in the church. In fact, she kind of had some interaction late in her life with church. And hear that amazing story, and then hear what happened that led her away from the church. It's pretty powerful. I hope you're ready for it, because you know I am. So here we go.
Hey, come take a walk with me, not like you used to do. Do something different and put yourself in other people's shoes. Open up your mind and open up your eyes and change your direction, change your perspective.
Welcome into Other People's Shoes. I'm your host, Neil, and we are here once again, sitting outside of Starbucks. Shout out to them. One day, I hope, maybe, just maybe, off chance, they will become a sponsor of the show. But as of yet, not so much. But anyway, I'm privileged. It is such a privilege to do this. Such a privilege to sit down with my guest today. Her name is Kelly. Kelly's a mom. As you heard on the onset, Kelly's a mom. She's one of my coworkers. So that, that's the great thing about the place I work. I have this vast inventory, we'll call it ocean of people, if you will. Good metaphor there to really draw from. And so I want to welcome my guest, Kelly, on. Kelly, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Can we say your daughter's name?
Yes.
I'm weird about that. I don't want to, ever give away whatever stuff. Your daughter's how old?
She is 2. She will be 3 in September. Her name is Abigail.
Abigail. Not Abby. Let's be clear on that.
We call her Abigail, Abby.
Okay, because I remember when you were pregnant with her, and I thought that was like the big thing. You didn't want anyone calling her Abby. So maybe I was wrong on that, but I don't know.
No,
You could have been crazy because you're pregnant, right? Did I just get myself in trouble by saying people are crazy when they're pregnant?
Okay.
Oh, man, and I'm getting good letters.
Emotions are real.
Okay,
I tell you what,
the struggle is real. Right.
Amen.
So here we go. So, Kelly, a compliment to you first, and then we'll get into the show. You were one of the first people to really give active feedback almost every week of the show. So I'm going to put you in a category, it's a very small category. I think my wife is probably my top fan. Love you, honey. There's another $1 in the jar for the mention. But outside of my wife, I think you give probably the most feedback. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I wanted to share that with you, and I always value it, and I appreciate it, and I thank you so much for listening and being a fan. So it's kind of nice to have a fan of the show be a guest on the show, so you get to be the first in that regard, too.
I may or may have not geeked out a little bit. Like,
okay.
Me?
Yeah.
Are you
when
sure?
I asked you, you're like,
Can I give feedback to myself? Like,
yes, please. This episode especially, if I don't get feedback, I'm going to be really mad.
Yeah.
There's going to be letters,
really
emails, Instagram story posts, whatever that means. I don't know. But here we go. So, Kelly, shoe size. You know how we start the show. So what is your shoe size?
I am a size 6.5.
Is that, like, girls tell me
toddlers?
that, and is that a toddler? Is that a toddler size? Oh, she's flashing it too.
Yeah.
Are those Vans, by the way?
They are. They're my favorite.
Huh. Weird. I, too,
Are we fanning it right
am
now?
wearing my signature Vans, which, small story on the Vans, then I promise we're going to get in the show, guys. Just hang with us. Little background's always good. Somebody told me recently, a middle schooler actually, at church, so we'll get into the church subject, that's where we're kind of foreshadowing here, told me my Vans are fake.
Whoa. He called you out.
Yeah, and I didn't know that they were fake when I bought them on eBay for $20. That should have been the first indication that they were maybe not legit. So if you see me, know that I'm wearing fake Vans.
These ones right here.
Yes, but they are someone else's shoes, which was what I wanted.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's
And they're 10.5s. So there I am. Yours are what size again?
6.5.
6.5. So we're close. No, not even. No.
My bonus kiddos make fun of me. They're like, do you shop in the kids section? Maybe.
Maybe so.
You might swing by there later on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There we go. Okay. So Vans is that your shoe of choice? I mean,
Yes.
that's what you're wearing today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a punk stage back in middle high school, and I would just Converse and Vans and
like Avril Lavigne punk stage.
No, more like Rancid, Dropkick.
Okay.
Those.
I'm gonna.
Not Avril is more like a pop.
I'm gonna have to Google all of those people that you just mentioned.
You're welcome.
I don't know any of those. There we go. So here we are. All right. Well, Kelly, thanks again for coming on. Thanks for taking some time away from your daughter, and we'll just do #OHIO. Thank you for that as well. So there we go. A little hidden message there. So here we go. All right. Well, Kelly, tell me your church story, because you have one, right? I mean, did you grow up in the church? Did you not? When did Kelly first walk into the church experience? Yeah, and tell us about that. Walk us through that as we're in your shoes.
Sure. My size 6.5 Vans.
Yeah, 6.5 Vans.
So I didn't grow up in the church. Sundays were kind of dedicated to maple bar Sundays and chocolate milk. So
somebody's taking you to donut shops and stuff?
Yeah, my mom.
Okay.
We'd get maple bars every Sunday, so it was like, man, church. So I kind of came to know God going to church. I started at Table Rock because I'm like a mile away, and walked in and sat in the back row by myself. I kind of was at a point of needing something else besides kind of the people.
So what year and how old are you?
Oh my gosh.
How old are you in this time frame?
This is going to be...
The wheels are turning.
I know. Oh, man. Like senior high school?
Okay. So about what year is that?
07.
07.
Yeah.
Okay. I always like to put it in context of what time frame we're in.
Sure.
Right? Because there's a lot of things that are going on in 07, right? I mean, there's tons. I don't know. Google that. 07. I don't know.
What happened in
maybe
07?
Maybe there isn't. I don't know. But
Yeah.
but anyway, so 07,
Yeah, it was
you walk
07,
in.
I walked in and,
you're back row kid.
Yeah.
Just looking for something. Not even sure what though.
Why not? I was kind of in a season of being like let down, and I dated a lot of guys, not at the same time, but I was just jumping guy to guy, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, I need something. So I went to Table Rock. I sat in the back, and the pastor at the time, Tom Saban, is that right?
Sure. I don't know. I don't know the Table Rock people, but
maybe his name changed now.
I like Tom. We'll go with Tom.
Tom. That sounds good.
All right.
He was just speaking to me, like things that I needed to hear, and I kind of felt like, oh my gosh, this like I came on the right night, because this guy is like
he's been following me around.
Yeah,
he's got a journal.
He's the guy in the bushes.
Okay.
The house at night, just.
So he's speaking right to you feel like?
He's speaking to me.
Okay.
The things he's saying, and I was hooked, and I was going every Wednesday night, and I started going different, like Sundays and Wednesdays, and then I started going to this like after high school youth group that was taught by another guy, and I met a bunch of people, and we started hanging out, and then it kind of went from there, and then I started digging into Youth for Christ and volunteering there on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Tuesdays was middle schoolers, and then Thursdays was high schoolers, plus going to church on Wednesdays and Sundays. And I just wanted to be this like God-loving woman. Like, I just wanted that just drive, and I wanted to know it all, and I wanted to have that, like, I wanted to be able to have all the knowledge of that I had my together type thing.
Yeah. Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think that wanting that knowledge, and then of course statistically speaking, you would not fall into a church kid category. You
Sure.
didn't grow up in the church.
Yeah.
You came late to the party, if you will, late to the church party. And then you hung around
Yeah.
in these years that most of your peers are probably saying, I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.
Gone.
Sure.
But you're plugging in rather than unplugging to
Yeah.
church. That to me is fascinating in itself. I'd like to
Yeah.
hear more about that.
Yeah, going and like being around the people at that time, they were kind of filling a void. I was learning about Jesus. I was learning about his love for me. I was learning about just the fact that I'm worth it. Like that alone is kind of a hard pill to swallow. Like, what, me? Are you sure? And so just getting all this stuff, all this knowledge, and listening to these powerful women in the church and, you know, their stories and what they go through, and like, God, I want to be that. I want to be something bigger for somebody or help somebody. And so I just strapped on my boots and I went for it, or my Vans.
Yeah. So is any woman, can you think of a woman in particular that maybe, you know, shadowing you or shadowing, you know, pouring into you, mentoring you, discipling you would be a church word, but can you think of anybody that's the lady or anybody that's just saying, hey, Kelly, this is how we do what we do. Hey, Kelly, this is, yeah, you know, I know you're a musician. You started out, you know, maybe we'll get into that a little bit, but did anybody show you how to do that musician stuff, guitar stuff, or did you just pick it up on your own? I guess what I'm trying to allude to is somebody helping you walk through these processes as far as helping out in the church, volunteering, you know, I don't know if you're leading a Bible study or, you know, what, is anybody helping you in that regard? What, and if so, what did that look like?
No, not at that time. It didn't come to a later time that, my friend Amber was a huge influence on me, and she still is to this day. But at that time that I was walking through it, it was kind of like an alone. I did a lot of stuff by myself because I relied on so many other people at that time who had let me down, that I felt like it was my time to be like, all right, this is me and God, like, we're doing it. And like I'd drive to the coast by myself. I would like go on drives I went to the movies by myself, and it just all these things just to kind of, for me, and yeah, I dug deep into the kids in the community, like City Life, like kids from the community. Also, Hearts with a Mission would come over, those kids, and wow, they're amazing. Amazing kids.
So nobody's pouring into you. Nobody's showing you, hey, Kelly, this is how you lead somebody to Jesus. Hey, Kelly, this is how you share your faith. Kelly, this is why we do what we do. I mean, you and I both work in a company where there's a process, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I guess relating that to almost kind of secularly what we do professionally, was there any process that you feel somebody was guiding you through to show you the ropes on how you do what you do?
Not really. I just knew that I had to be somebody that the church needed me to be. And even if I wasn't feeling those things, like if, you know, because I cuss, but of course you can't cuss at the church, so, you know, you're kind of more, I don't know,
Okay, so this is fascinating to me in a lot of respects. So there's nobody, quote unquote, discipling you. There's nobody showing Kelly, hey, Kelly, this, again, I know I'm repeating myself, so indulge me a little bit, but there's nobody saying, hey, Kelly, we have Susie over here. She's hurting. She needs these things. She's this, she's that, she's whatever. Go and show Susie how Jesus would treat Susie's friends.
No, there was
Nobody doing that.
No,
How did you know what to do to help, again, fictitious person, Susie?
Are we like as far as
Yeah.
city life goes?
Yeah, city life, Youth for Christ, Hearts with a Mission. I mean, those are some rough kids.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. No disrespect to those kids that go there, but they're rough kids.
Yeah, they've been through a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
for
some of
sure.
them are homeless, right? Some of them have had neglect. Some of them have had abuse, right? I mean,
yeah.
they're
Oh yeah.
they're the low of the low.
Uh-huh.
Maybe some of it's their choices, some of it's parental choices, whatever. But what I'm asking is I guess what I'm trying to get at is nobody's coming alongside Kelly to show Kelly how to love these kids. Kelly's doing it naturally, from the sound of it.
Yeah, when I went in there, actually it's pretty funny because the leader of City Life, his name is Dusty, super awesome guy. He sat down with me to interview me to be a leader in it, and I remember the questions he would ask me. I would just like God squirrel, like, oh Jesus, oh yes, and he's like, well, where's Kelly? And I'm like, well, this is me. I love Jesus. Yeah.
Like the answer was always Jesus, no matter what.
Yeah,
It's like,
I was just like, oh my gosh, I just love, Jesus squirrel.
how are you gonna help kids?
How are you
I love Jesus. Okay.
Just gonna pour onto him.
I'm just gonna. But
give
nobody's
them
pouring
vibes.
onto you.
Yeah,
That's my point.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to get at
right.
without selling your side of the story. But I think
Right.
that's what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, is nobody
Maybe
really poured
Jesus
into
was
you.
poured on me. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe he's just kind of
Right. I
giving
mean,
that love.
because again, going back to work, right? You took a new position, a year or so ago, right? In the company
in the
that we're
company,
at.
yes.
Yeah.
A year ago.
Year ago.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So you took a position a year ago within the company that we work at. No, did somebody come along and train you how to do your job?
Yes.
That's what I'm asking. Did anybody come alongside Kelly and train Kelly on how to be a youth leader?
No.
That's where I'm at. Why? Why not?
I don't know. I just
Okay. And again, no disrespect to Table Rock.
Right.
No disrespect to Hearts with a Mission. No disrespect to, what was the other one you said? The kid
City
thing.
Life?
City Life, thank you. No disrespect to those people. But nobody came and discipled or trained Kelly on how to love kids better.
I have a heart for kids. Like
Right.
I just love kids,
No,
so I wanted to
and I'm
be
not,
around them.
I'm not
Yeah.
dismissing that, but what I'm trying to say is that if you walked into your job a year ago when you took on that position and they said, by the way, here's everything you're going to be responsible for, here's the whole job, and you're like, cool, where do I start? What do I do first? What, who do I call? Am I supposed to call somebody? Am I supposed to email somebody? You know what I mean? My point is I think we do, and I'm going to get a little personal here, I think we do a disservice to people when we don't train them, when we don't show them, when we don't model for them what it's like to really be not only a leader, but to love kids. Loving kids is one thing. Absolutely. Got to be at the heart of it. But where it comes back to is how are we training? If you were to get in a car accident in those days and be incapacitated, and you probably had a pretty key role in those ministries, right? You were pretty involved.
Yeah,
You were the go-to gal, right?
I spent some time. Yeah.
Right. So if you're that go-to gal, right, and you get hurt or something happens to you, who then picks up the baton and runs for Kelly?
I don't know if you necessarily need training to be with kids, to hang out with kids. Like you don't need step by step, like on these things you're gonna say to them. You just sit with them. And that was one of the things Dusty, he would, because I came to him one time and I was like, it's hard. Because
Yeah.
in my mind, in my past, be going to church and stuff, like I want to pour it out, like I want to tell them all about Jesus, all about this stuff. And it's hard because a lot of them are just kind of like, who are you? Like, I love Jesus. Yay.
Right.
So Dusty told me, like, and it's been something that's kind of stuck with me, is like, don't fix them. And that was hard to hear because I want to fix everything. I want to fix everybody. Let me love you. But He's like, don't fix them, just sit with them. Listen to their story. What are they saying? And you don't have to have a response. You don't have to throw Jesus at them. You don't have to, just sit with them. And, okay. So this girl's just kind of talking to me. A lot of them are they don't want to just pour their heart out because they've been hurt by, parents, church, or, whatever that looks like, who's hurt them. And they don't want to just come up to a complete stranger and be like, blah, here it is. So yeah, you sit with them, you ask them questions, you get to know them, and then they start opening up, they start cracking, opening up. And I also did a mentoring program, and they put me with this girl, teenage girl. She's absolutely wonderful, and I still had my Jesus glasses on, and you hang out with them. You go I pick her up in my car, and we go hang out, and in my mind I'm like, wow, what kind of Christian music is good to listen to? Maybe she'll Need to Breathe, or I'm trying to connect with her, but with my Jesus glasses on. And so I don't even remember what we're listening to, but I remember she was just kind of what did I get myself into? And I'm just like, so how did Jesus impact your day today? So what Bible did you read? Should we go over scripts? I mean, what do you want to do? And I remember it was kind of the moment that my Jesus glasses came off a little bit. I had something in my hand. I can't remember what it was. I think there were keys or something, and I dropped them. And I said, oh, fudge. Like a Christmas Story moment, right? And but I didn't say fudge. I said the word.
The F word.
The F word.
Okay. Which we won't say here, but I think we all know what that is. Yeah. And I kind of look at her, and in I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Did you hear something? I didn't say it. And she's looking at me, and I kind of look down how do I dig myself? The jig is up.
Oh my gosh. Out of any word to say as I drop something is that word. And she's like a 16, 17-year-old girl that I'm trying to put her Jesus glasses on. And she looks at me and she goes, huh, there you are, Kelly. And in that moment, I felt like I get to be myself. I think she was looking at me, thinking, trying to get to know me, deep down me. And the entire time I was just trying to have this person, try to give her this Jesus thing.
First persona.
Yeah.
Facade.
I had my glasses on. They came off, and I just remember thinking wow, okay, I don't have to try to. And as soon as that, I think Jay-Z radio came on. We were bumping down the road, and she just starts slowly but surely. She's unfolding who she is, and she's telling me about her past and her stepdad and why he's in jail and just all this stuff. And I'm okay, yeah, okay. But she related to me. I related to her. She related to me out of one word. It was a bad word, but she was like, I can relate to that because I use those words. Even though it's,
yeah,
that's not,
right.
But it was that moment of.
But what a powerful moment. I want to ask you a question that comes into my mind.
Sure.
Do you remember in those, you talked about kind of jumping on the Jesus train, if you will,
sure,
senior year, right? The J train, as some would say, right? Did you ever make a commitment or have that moment where you, the church phrasing would be, accepted Jesus in your heart?
Yeah.
What was that moment like? Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, I think it was, during communion, I think we were doing, which at that time I was like, I don't know what this is. Crackers and juice. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were doing it, and they were just, accept Jesus into your heart. And I was like, okay, yeah. Hey, Jesus, I accept you into my heart. And it was, I still believe to this day, like, wholeheartedly. And I'm constantly reminded of him. I mean, I give everything I am to him, and so it's, yeah. Does that answer? Is that the question?
It does. No, I think it does. So where do you get your authority? Is he still the authority in your life? He being Jesus.
Authority. That's a great question. I don't know. I don't identify myself as a Christian. I obviously, I don't go to church anymore. But I believe in him. I have a relationship with him. But I don't look at him as like an authority figure. I think of him more as like a friend.
I think of authority as someone that not only has authority, like a boss would say, hey, I want you to go do this, or whatever, but also has the authority to be the governing person over you, right? So police officers have an authority place in our life, right? They tell us, hey, if you speed, you're gonna get a ticket. There's a result there, right? But I like what you said there, that you look at him more as like a friend. So take us back to, you have this, in my mind, this amazing moment with this young lady, Jay-Z, hashtag, thank you, foul mouth, thank you, right? You have this amazing moment, right? But then what happens? Where's the transformation where you say, I'm done, I'm out?
The moment that I am done, like that was a moment for me, but I don't think it was until I started college at Pacific Bible College, and I remember looking around the room at these people talking, and I remember thinking, like, I don't want anything to do with you guys. Like, they were just very judgmental. They were very, it's like,
can you be specific on how they were judgmental?
Yeah, like we were learning about the gay community. I have some gay friends, and they are the best people, absolutely. And they're like, they may be cool, but they're going to hell. So God's gonna have to, deal with them. And I don't believe it. I don't believe they're going to hell. There's no, like, for loving somebody, this person loves somebody else, and they're going to, like, I'm not one to judge them. I'm not going to judge them, but I don't believe that. A lot of the judgment on sex outside of marriage, kids outside of marriage, a lot of, like, not listening to what you're going through right now, but having Bible verses to cover up situations that person may have felt uncomfortable with. Like, I'm feeling uncomfortable with your story, so here's a Bible verse that may have helped me. And it's like, well, I don't relate to that. Like, I didn't really read the Bible. I don't read the Bible. I think people have used the Bible in more hurtful ways than good in my eyes. There's a lot of gray areas, and I know Jesus. I know his love for me and his love for other people, and so that's what I take from knowing who he is just love people, love God, love people. I don't want to sit there and tell these people, like, what. I remember this guy was talking about evangelizing at our college, and he started it off with, no, he's just this, like, homeless druggie. And I walked up to him, and I just started saying, like, hey, do you know Jesus? You need to know Jesus. You need him in his life. And it's like, you don't even know the guy's name. Like, and you're just sitting here telling him what he needs in his life, and you don't even know what his story is. You don't know where he's been, and you're just like slamming on and other people are just like, well, good for you. I'm so glad you're just spreading the word of Jesus. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what do you mean? Like, that was horrible. Like, I mean, I know a lot of Christians think, they want to spread the word of God, and which is great, but hey, don't do it in a way that you're hurting people. Just sit with them and, hey, what are you going through right now? Do you need some love? I mean, you don't even have to mention Jesus. You can just sit with them, love on them, and then if they ask you like, hey, you seem like you have it together, how come? I got a good God. I'm happy. I'm joyful. I'm doing things in my life or, make a difference.
That was powerful, Kelly. So many things I want to add into that. So many. You can't see me because this is an audio recording. Everybody keeps saying, you need to add video to your show, Neil. And I'm like, no, because I'm laughing at times off mic from Kelly. I'm like nodding along. I'm cheering on some parts of that as well. Great for sharing that, Kelly. When you think of your dad,
okay,
what's the first thought that comes to mind?
Caring, I think is the word. My dad, he wasn't a dad that he loved us and he hugged us and he told us he loved us, but he never, I guess I look at my fiance with his girls and he's cuddling them and he's kissing them on the lips and he's just like, you are beautiful. You are gorgeous. I love you, baby girl. I never not with my dad.
Is your dad still living?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So he may hear this.
Maybe.
Okay.
He's very they live out in the sticks, so he doesn't really know too much about
technology. Okay, there's a chance. Okay.
Yeah, there might be somebody who family member that might show him this, and hearing kids from Hearts with a Mission, their story about their dad, reminds me how great my dad is and how awesome he was to be in our lives growing up. And I always knew that I was loved. But it wasn't until I met Dustin and seeing him with his kids, it's like, oh wow, the contact and the cuddles or the kisses and but I don't necessarily think I'm missing that in my life now. He's still in my life and we still in contact, and he always asks how Abby's doing and stuff, but caring. He's a strong guy. He's very Republican. He loves his guns, which I love guns too. We always go fishing all the time, which is a very nice bonding between us. And caring. He's a caring guy.
Was that hard to answer?
Yeah.
Why was that so hard to answer? I could see you struggling with it, is why I'm asking. Because again, this is one more reason why we don't have video, because she was struggling with that one. I'm going to tell her on that one. Why was that so hard to answer?
Oh my gosh. We might have to come back to that one.
Okay. Maybe circle back. Okay. So the reason why I'm asking that question, it's leading me into, and maybe leading our conversation into something else. It was said to me recently, the first thing we think about when we think about God is the first thing we think about when we think about our earthly father. Wow. That was a mouthful. Yeah. So I'm going to run that back again. So the first thing you think about is when you think about your father, the first thing that you think about your father is the first thing you think about God. And you said caring. And I watched you kind of struggle with that. So I'm wondering, when you think about God, do you think God is caring?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if God is so caring and God is so awesome, and I mean, I've heard you say that a couple of times, that you really do love. I mean, you do love God. You just don't love His church.
I think it's the people.
Or maybe the people in the church
It's
that
the
you don't
people
love.
in the church,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's probably a better description.
And it's not all people.
Yeah. Sure.
It's not like I'm gonna categorize Californians because one, ran me off or went in front of me, drove in front of me,
Right.
cut me off, and I'm not gonna just all of a sudden hate all Californians, even though they do drive crazy.
I mean,
But-
a shout out to your fiance. I cannot stand Ohio State University. Can't stand it. OHIO. I can't get behind it. I don't know why.
He's a
I just
diehard.
don't. But Dustin is a diehard Ohioan, if that's a thing. If I said it wrong, sorry, Dustin. But he loves the Cavs. He loves everything Ohio, and I'm like, I like him as a guy. I love talking sports with him, but I'm like, I can't embrace
Sure.
the Buckeye.
Yeah.
That's a nut. I can't, and he's
What
a nut
are
for
you?
liking the nuts. There we are. I made that full circle. But what I'm trying to say is this is a really weird segue, but I think what I hear you saying is you can't get behind the people of the church. You can get behind the message, which in Dustin's case is Ohio State and the love of Ohio State. You can get behind that, but you can't get behind the fandom, the people that are cheering so loudly for Ohio State. And I'm paralleling that. I know you probably can get behind Ohio State cheering because you probably have to in your house. It's probably a thing.
man. It's a thing.
I mean, you just have to. Just like in my
Michigan-
house. I mean, that's a word you don't say at your house.
Michigan is a cuss word. At
Yeah,
our house.
I mean, you think the F word's bad? Michigan's probably that cuss word, just like in my house.
If we had
Puke is the
if we
cuss
had a
word.
picture of Jesus up on the wall, I'm sure Urban Meyer would be
Right next to
right
him.
next to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Urban Meyer's a saint in a lot of people's minds. But I say all that because I hear what you're saying. So you have this college experience. You go to college. You're trying to get educated. You're trying to, help kids more. I'm sure that's the path you're on still.
Yeah.
Fast forwarding a little bit. You hear all these so-called Christians, we're going to air quote that, just slamming people, slamming beliefs, slamming, judgy. Apparently they skipped over Matthew chapter 7, which says, don't judge lest you be judged by the same measure of standard. That's also right before that. Jesus talks about if you have a speck in your eye, by the way, be aware you may have a log
Right.
in yours. You're worried about your neighbor's speck. Well, you got a log in yours.
Yep.
So be aware of that. So that then kind of how does that turn the tide some more? Can we hear more about that?
Yeah, like at that time, I think my Jesus glasses have come off, and I'm starting to be real, vulnerable, brave in that, because you got to be brave to be vulnerable. It's scary. And I wanted to talk to people about hard stuff. Like, hey, let's talk about stuff that sucks, and maybe how Jesus has helped us get past that. Everybody in there was just kind of like, what version of the Bible do you read? King James? Well, I don't read that. And they didn't want to dig deep, which is fine because a lot of people don't want to be vulnerable, but it's just, I couldn't get behind it. I couldn't get it behind it anymore as far as wanting to believe that Jesus was this judgmental, guilt-driven guy, and how we're going to change the world is by guilting them with Bible verses and how they're missing the boat. It seemed like these people, and I've said this before, these people are in a lifeboat and we're all in the water, and they're pulling us up out of this lifeboat, and they're like, I got the answer, I can help you. But in reality, Jesus is in the boat and we're all in the water. Nobody's got something, but these people in this college, and we're just like, yeah, we need to hate gay people, and we need to, not have sex till we meet our God-loving husband, and I'm not married. I have a beautiful daughter and an amazing fiance, and I'm living my best life. In my eyes, there's not a thing or a day that goes by that I'm just not grateful for the things that Jesus has given me. And I think he wants that for me. I don't think there's these stipulations that I missed of not getting married first, and things happen. And probably a lot of people don't know this, but Abby was conceived the first time that Dustin and I had sex. And I remember a story with you being in Southern Cascades. This is a moment that kind of...
This is the moment. We talked pre-show that it might come up. We did not rehearse this.
Not rehearsed, but I remember I was like 8 months pregnant, and it was like you and me in our...
little area.
In our little cubicles.
Yeah.
And you're like, how many months pregnant are you? And I said, about 8 months. And you're like, well, how long have you and Dustin been dating? It's like, just 8 months. And
I don't remember any of this, full disclosure.
And you printed out, I think, a Bible verse, and you set it on my key. I was gone. I came back, and it felt like judgmental. I know your heart now, but at that time, I felt like judged, and I was like, what? This guy doesn't know me. And I remember taking that Bible verse, and I crumbled it up, and I just threw it in the trash. And I was like, how dare you? I don't know you. You don't know me.
Wow.
And, but I know you now, Neil. I know.
Wow.
It was in when people, when you say something like, oh yeah, something's going on in your life, and to you, maybe it's happiness, and to a Christian person, they're like, is it okay if I pray for you real quick? Right then and there, you just feel like I am doing something absolutely... You're just laughing.
I am. I'm trying not to laugh. Gary's going to have a field day with this one. Thank you, buddy. Hashtag to my editor, Gary. So I could probably tell you the verse without remembering the story, because I really don't remember the story, and I'm so embarrassed now to even hear that story, and now it's out there forever. Thank you.
Or maybe.
Thank you, Internet. No, we're keeping it. It stays. It was probably Psalm 139.
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't. I just.
You didn't save it. It didn't make it Abby's memory book? Weird.
Right with her first lock of hair.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't remember
her footprints.
anything it said.
And the Bible verse that some judgy jerk face gave you. What a jerk that guy was. So, thank you for not ending our friendship over something as that. Which leads me into this next question. The Christian people at that college really let you down.
Yes.
Not the church. Or did the church let you down later because they found out about Abby and the relationship and all of that?
I think I started seeing the pattern of the people.
Okay.
And starting to look back on it and realizing what these people were saying, how they were trying to mold me into this evangelistic person, but using these tools of the Bible and these scripts and all this stuff without knowing the core values of actually just loving somebody, just being present with them and being with them instead of just, oh, you're messing up, you should probably come to church with me. Oh, you don't like church? You're gonna love my church, because my church is way different and better than everybody else's church, because everybody says that. And to me, it was all the same. These people had it in their minds that how you're going to bring Jesus to people is by guilting them and judging them for the things that they are doing. Of course, there's right and wrong, but everybody's they have their truths. Everybody has their own truth. I don't think having sex after or before marriage is bad. I don't think I think it's natural. I think people do it. Kids out of wedlock, got one, nailed it.
So, two things, and then I want to get into our little study here that's from the book, which you are now reading. You lost me.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I'm not actually reading it. I'm listening.
Listening. I call it the same thing. I really do. It's the same thing. I mean, yeah. Anyway, listening to it, but you are listening to it currently. So
yes.
That's awesome. Love that. So, two things come to mind, and then I want to segue into these questions. The first one, Jesus made a statement. He says, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Right? People get stuck on that and have hung up on that and have left church kind of because of that. And that's going to lead into the statements of why people leave. So I'm giving you a preview of what you're going to read about, by the way. Stole it straight from the book, or used it straight from the book. What do you make of that statement when you hear that?
Long pause.
Yeah.
I think maybe it might just be them, as simple as them just believing who he is, what he did for us on the cross. I think that might be, it might be that, or maybe people, God has control of their lives and they kind of want to have control of it, or I don't know.
Okay. That's okay.
That's a tough.
That's all right.
A tough one.
That's all right. So the next thing I was going to say too, this is terrible, but back in the day, I went to a youth camp, many youth camps, being a church kid that I was. That sounded braggadocious, by the way. That didn't mean to come off that way. Little church kid. I'm awesome. You're not, because I went to church. No, I remember this going to camp, and I remember the speaker had a cookie that his wife had made. It was a pretty good size. You think like Cookie Connection, good size, you know what I mean? Like good size cookie. Right now, these little chintzy, Chips Ahoy. No, it was big. And he starts in the front row, and he says, "You guys," and it's just guys. He goes, "You guys can each have a piece of the cookie. You can just as big a piece as you want, or you don't have to have a piece. It's up to you. But you get to have whatever you want of the cookie. I just need some portion of the cookie back. Some part of the cookie has to come back to me in some form, right?" Now it's high schooler and middle schoolers, probably about 30, maybe 40 of us. Now, germaphobes out there are already freaking out, like everyone's touching this cookie. Gross, where have their hands been? Yuck, whatever. But it gets back to him, and it literally is like this little, maybe quarter size, maybe even penny size, little crumb of it. And he's like, every time you are intimate with someone, this is what happens. You give a piece of that, of you, away to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get married, this is all you have left to give them.
No.
And I'm like, what?
Piece of your heart, of your virginity cookie?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was kind of relating to the virginity aspect of it, but just anytime you're really giving somebody, anytime you interact with somebody, you're giving something away to somebody. You're either giving them life, you're either taking life from them, or giving life to them. Mm-hmm. It's one or the other. It's an exchange. And I'm like wrestling with that a little bit. But I guess the point of where I'm trying to get at with that is, I think what you're describing is so powerful from the standpoint of, if that's how we'll use your word, because you've used it a few times, if that's how we're evangelizing to you as an unchurched person, so to speak, right? Because you don't regularly go to church,
sure,
right? What are we doing to encourage you to come? Because it sounds like we're doing a whole lot of discouraging you to come. You know what I mean? And if we're telling you and sharing with you that, you're giving away all this stuff and yet you're not leaving anything left for God, what are we doing there too? You know what I mean? And so I guess that's what I'm trying to, just thought-provoking stuff there. So here we go. Here's 6 reasons. You'll, again, read about these in the Barna book, You Lost Me. There is a link in the show notes if you'd like to partake in that as well with Kelly. She's reading along on Audible. Little plug for Audible. I'm not getting sponsored by Audible, but I do love Audible. So again, a company that I'd like to get behind the show. All right, here we go. Reason number 1. Church seems overprotective. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Overprotective. I think they like to keep their people in. They don't like to make waves in the congregation. So they will do things to prevent the waves. I think church is very money-based. I think they kind of accustomed to the people who are maybe given the most money. I know that sounds kind of, I don't know.
It's your perception.
Yeah.
It's not wrong. I mean, it's your perception.
Yeah, I think they...
they're your shoes. They're not my shoes. We're just in your shoes right now. Sort of. Because
I
shoved my foot into that. But.
Protective with the people who are in it.
Okay.
Their core. They want to protect their...
Okay. They want to protect the core congregation. All right. Reason number 2. Teens and 20-somethings' experience of Christianity is shallow. Agree or disagree?
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, you were there. I mean, you remember thinking back.
Yeah.
Was it really deep, or you had an experience where people were pretty shallow?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Reason number 3. Churches come across as antagonistic to science. Agree or disagree?
Probably agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
You agree with that? Yeah, I don't know about you. Again, being the church kid, liking planets, learning about space, astronauts. I mean, my namesake, for goodness sakes, is after Neil Armstrong, which is an astronaut. Learning about that stuff was like, let's just put that over there.
Oh, yeah, dinosaurs.
Yeah, dinosaurs. I love the Velociraptor. It's my favorite dinosaur. Is that weird to have a favorite dinosaur? Sorry.
Velociraptor.
It's my favorite. Reason number 4. Young Christians' church experience related to sexuality are often simplistic and judgmental. I think you have an experience with that too.
I mean, I might.
Do you agree with that statement? Yeah. Okay. I thought you might. Okay. Reason number 5. They wrestle with the exclusive nature of Christianity. We kind of talked about that already. Jesus said, of course, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. There's no one to get to the Father except through me. Sounds pretty exclusive to me. How would you respond? Do you have thought about that a little more? How your response would be to that?
To that saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody should know Jesus. I think he's amazing. He's great. I think everybody should know him. But it's how people push him on other people. And it's maybe Jesus finds them. Well,
yeah. Reason number 6. This is one that I really love. Out of all the reasons, I don't know why, but I really like this reason the most of why people leave churches. Church feels unfriendly to those who doubt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, yeah. I know there's going back to the Bible stuff, there's a lot of things in there that I doubt. I don't know if things happen. I don't know if the guy was in the whale for so many, I don't know if that happened. Maybe, but probably not. People live for a bajillion years. I don't know if that happened. There's a lot of things I don't think I believe in the Bible, but it's very hard to talk to somebody who is deep in the streets Christian to, without them like, what? What do you mean? You don't, I I don't know. I think I'm okay with not knowing.
All right, I often ask this question because it's a fun question. If you could be, which is kind of funny to me because you're really kind of an introverted person, so this is really going to take a huge step for Kelly if this was reality, right? But good thing it's just fictitious, so don't get too crazy, right? But if you were to, I'm thinking of, Ohio State football again, right? That stadium packs a ton of people. What, 90 plus, if I'm not wrong?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures.
Okay. So 90,000 plus people. Imagine you being the center of the
The horseshoe.
50-yard line. You're at the horseshoe, right? And you got everybody there that could possibly be there that you know or has impacted you or maybe hasn't impacted you, but just everybody that you could ever think of is in this stadium. What would be the one thing you would tell them about Jesus?
Probably that no matter what you do in your life, if you feel maybe you failed at something yourself, him, whatever he loves you this much. He's not going to love you more if you go knock on one more door or evangelize one more person. He's not going to love you less if you drop the F-bomb or if you have sex before marriage. Like, he loves you here this much, no more, no less.
And that's a great answer. I'm so troubled by this because it's such a strong paradigm, right? Is you clearly love this guy, Jesus.
Yeah.
Love what he stood for, love what you know about him, love what you've heard about him, love all of this stuff. But then there's this other paradigm over here that you're like, I don't know if I can get behind the Bible. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can get behind, Jonah and the whale. That's the story you alluded to. I don't know if I can get behind Methuselah living for, X number of years, way, way long time, right? I don't know if I can get on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
How do those two worlds coexist so well together in your mind?
I just see Jesus' love. There's so many examples and stories of him and what he did do. But I think just I don't know. I just doubt it. I doubt the...
But what I guess what I'm ultimately asking is, you can doubt the Bible,
mm-hmm.
but you don't doubt Jesus and what he did?
No.
And I'm not trying to get in a debate with you. That sounded very
this table.
We're done. I'm out. Nobody's walked out of an interview. I'm going to be the first. I know I'm the fan, whatever. It's a guest be on here, whatever. Dropping some F-bombs. But my point is that...
Because the stories you hear are from the Bible.
Yeah.
But other things
Yeah.
you can't get behind.
Yeah.
Maybe just because it's not realistic. Those things, like guy living in a whale. Huh? Not really realistic.
But
No.
Jesus healing someone of blindness, spitting on the ground, making mud, putting it on the dude's eyes. The guy becoming blind and then seeing.
Yeah.
Do you believe that? Because that's in there.
The Son of God, yeah.
Okay.
He
all right.
can...
I'm not...
Maybe it's just Jesus, I believe he could do these things, but other people, maybe not so much.
Okay. So last question, then we'll play our game.
I know it's...
I want to circle back. To two things. The first thing I want to come back to is we'll pause that for just a fast second, but then I want to come back to something that we talked about earlier. But last question, and then I want to circle back. So here we go. So the last question, unless something just jumps in, is this idea that who does Kelly say that Jesus is? Not who the world thinks, Not who your mom or your dad but who do you? Like if you were standing there at Judgment Day, whatever that may look like to you, who, and you're faced with that, who do you not only say that Jesus is, but who would you say that God is? So 2-part question. Are they separate? Are they the same? I don't know. I'm going to let you wrestle with that.
I would say Jesus is the Son of God. Like, he is God in life form, and he died on the cross.
Are him and God the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are, in your mind, the same person.
Yeah.
Like Jesus is just God in a bod, somebody said once to me.
God in a bod.
God in a bod.
Yes.
Okay, you would say that. Okay, all right. So I'm going to circle back. Okay. Your dad.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry. I was coming back to that. I wanted to end with that. So why was that so tough for you to answer? Your dad being caring and stuff.
It just sounds like I don't love my dad, and that's not the point at all. I love my dad so much. I don't know. I can't give an answer to
That's
it.
okay.
I don't know.
Again, we're not rehearsing any of this, so we didn't know we were going to talk about this. This is the joy.
There's probably a lot of pause moments.
There's a joy
of what to say.
It's all right. But the reason why I asked that too, when I heard that question or that statement this last week, that the first thing you think about when you think about your earthly dad is the first thing you think about when you think about God, I struggled with that. And I'm like, maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem with our churches, is everyone has this wrecked lens, wrecked view. Use the Jesus lenses quite often in our talk today, which I loved. We have this wrecked view, this wrecked lens of who Jesus is and who God is. And so therefore we want nothing to do with either one, because if my dad was anything like what God is, I want nothing to do with him. I want nothing to do with him. Therefore, sequentially, I want nothing to do with the church. So I didn't know if that was true in your case. That's part of the reason why I asked that question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where that's coming from.
No,
Okay.
If God wants to go fishing with me sometime, I'd totally be down.
I always say if he wants to take me to Starbucks,
he'd be sitting with you right now.
I love Starbucks. Anyway, okay, so let's play our game.
Okay.
It's a fun game we like to call Senseless. Sorry it is not in an Ohio State Cup or a Green Bay Packers Cup, because I know you're a big Packers fan.
Packers.
Sorry, but you do have to...
I even have a cheese head.
Wow. Yeah.
It's not allowed to come in the house per Dustin, but I have it, and I look at it often, kind of give it like a little
ceremonial fist bump.
Like, I see you. I see you.
I see you. I want you. I love you. Right.
We got it this year.
So you're going to shake this die in here, and then based on what you roll, we will answer our last question, which is called Senseless. So here we go. You get to roll it. Still looking. Just trying to look at my notes. 4, my favorite number. Oh, this is so perfect for you. This is... I let the die do its talking. So here we go. Number 4. One thing you love to hear.
Oh my gosh.
One thing you love to hear.
Well, now that Abby
Yeah.
is talking
Yeah.
all the time now,
Abby Gabby.
Abby Gabby, Abberdaberdoo, she says, I love you. Most of the time, right after I tell her I love her, so she's repeating me, but there are moments when I'm just sitting on the couch with her and she just says, I love you, Mama, out of the blue. And I'm just like, oh. It just, maybe a tear, I don't know. But those are sweet nectar words that I love to hear. I'm proud of you is also probably a good one. or dinner's ready.
That's awesome. Or dinner's ready. That's good. One popped into my head, so we really will end with this one. Even though I liked to end the show with senseless, we're gonna go rogue. It's my show. I can do what I want. What will you tell Abby about church? And more importantly, what will you tell Abby about who Jesus is?
It's funny you said that. I was actually just telling a coworker this. When I had Abby, I remember being in the bathroom and I was like praying. I was thanking God, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't believe this is me, this is my life. Like, I'm just so in love, and like I just felt that like mom warmth, like, oh, this moment. And
I don't know what that feels like, so I'm gonna.
It's a good one.
Okay.
It's a good one. And I remember holding Abby, and Dustin was sleeping, and it was just me and her, and I remember holding her and saying, like, God loves you, and I was telling her, like, Jesus loves you, and I'm thankful for you. I think you're here because of them, and, you know, I just word vomited on my newborn daughter. And but it's hard because Dustin was raised Catholic, and he believes more like evolution side, like he believes we came from monkeys, which is not true. I didn't come from a damn monkey. I can tell you one thing right now. It's that. I didn't come from but he has a whole different view. He doesn't believe Jesus was the Son of God, and but he does believe Jesus did exist. So we have different views on it. So I don't know. I'm hoping that Abigail would have questions for me when she gets older. Maybe like, hey, I heard this guy Jesus, or hey, tell me about Christmas. Why are we, celebrating Christmas? And then I tell her, like, well, this is what I believe, and I would let her go through her own path and adventure with learning who Jesus is. Hopefully that she would have questions and I would be able to answer them without molding her into like, nope, this is what you know, this is who he is, this, just, hey, love God, love people.
I think that's a powerful statement. Love God, love people. It is. It's a powerful statement. Kelly, thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking time away from your daughter. Those are precious times, and anytime somebody gives me, they do. I am an 11-year-old. Ooh, they go by fast. Warp speed almost. We have boyfriends now.
Oh. Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah. Jesus, don't. There's a lot of that. But Kelly, I mean this. You're an exceptional person. I value the fact that you came on, that you were vulnerable, that you were willing to share. And my hope is that we as the church can do a better job for people like you, who can really love you where you are, but then call you into hopefully greater things. As a mom and as a wife, all those things. As a person, all those titles that you possess, because to me, that's the value of where it's at. So with that said, we do end the show. Thank you. This has been Other People's Shoes. I'm your host, Neil. And remember, when you walk in other people's shoes, you really do get a different perspective on life.